Your ass is up. It's your favorite TIO Al Cintron, and welcome to the newest episode of TIO Al and Friends. And usually, the friends I have on, Anthony Gallo and Pete Kennedy, can't be here. Gallo's dealing with some family stuff. Gallo, we got your back. And Pete Kennedy is shaking his ass somewhere. Who knows what? Maybe he pops in. We see a nip or two. We'll see how that goes. He's at a bachelor party. But joining me right now is the man who I first did a podcast with back in the day. Subway Anthony Rivera. What's good, brother?
It's been way too long, gentlemen. Way too long. I miss you, fellas. It's great to be on here on the show, and can't wait to talk about a lot of good stuff we got. We got a lot of good stuff
What?
for them today.
I made a mistake. Excuse me. Brand new Papa Subway to Shea, Anthony Rivera. Congratulations on that front.
Thank you. A lot of sleepless nights, a lot of diaper cleaning, but
Already?
it's all good. It's all good.
Already sleepless nights?
Yeah, man. There's no sleeping when you get a kid.
What's the rotation? You got the overnight shift?
I have to work in the morning, so I do more of the day shift when I come home from work. So, yeah.
All right.
It's been a lot of fun though, and yeah, can't wait to start bringing him to Met games.
Yeah, hopefully he's not a Cowboy fan like you. We'll talk about that in a few. We were talking about that off. We'll talk about that in a few. And of course, the man who runs the Uptown Sports Network, Hector. What's good, brother?
Chilling, baby, chilling. First off, shout out my guy Ant. Congratulations to you and wifey, on the first one. Hopefully one of many. We need a little baseball team, aka Subway to say software team, a softball team exclusive. So shout out to you, my guy. I know from our interactions, you're going to be a great father. Already know that. Same to Mom Dukes as well. So all my love and blessing to you, bro.
Thank you. And considering what these players are making, yeah, they're gonna have to start playing baseball. Maybe get a lefty throwing some bullpen and stuff like that. Make a whole bank.
Yeah, well, hopefully slugs like Juan Soto regular season and in the playoffs, not like Aaron Judge in the playoffs. Now I'm saying,
it hasn't even been. We already got the Yankee slander, guys.
Yeah, I gotta do it. We're gonna start with a topic that I've talked about in the fan ad nauseum. We're all tired of talking about it, whether you're a Met, a Yankee fan, a Blue Jay fan, an Angel fan, a Tamagotchi Hashihara, a Giants fan, whatever they call them in Japan. We're all tired of talking about it, and that's Pete Alonso and his negotiations. But before I talk about the Pete Alonso thing, this all connects. David Stearns and the Fan Fest. I talked about it, whether they were booing him or booing him talking about the prospects. I thought it was an absolute disgrace. It showed a bunch of fans ungrateful and unappreciative, but it was beautiful the way Steve Cohen shut that shit down in a heartbeat, and then they were all clapping. He had them eating out of his hand. So, I'm going to start with you because I haven't really talked to you about this. What are your thoughts on how everything transpired at FanFest and what's going on now?
I think that ownership played this perfectly. I mean, I think leading into that, I've said for a while, I will believe Alonso is gone when I see it. There was still always that chance he would come. But, as heading into the weekend, I was like, you know what? I really don't know anymore. Like, I was starting to lean against it. And for that fact, I was like, you know what? Voice your opinions at FanFest. They're going to be there. Voice what you got to say. The fans did that. And the, ownership, Steve Cohen and David Stearns came back and they gave them, a little bit of truth serum. They gave them transparency, something that we never got from the Wilpons. So I'm happy that they, nipped that in the bud. They were cheering for Cohen after he said what he said.
Mm-hmm.
And then now this might have played into the Mets' hands because does Pete Alonso go to Toronto where, let's be honest, the chances of them making the postseason are really slim because obviously the Yankees went to the World Series last year. They'll still be the number one team. Boston's going to be better. Tampa, I'm sure, is going to be better. Baltimore is there. Toronto's really not that good. And does Pete, how much does Pete care about this money to really take that much from Toronto when not only he can make somewhat similar amount, and definitely what he deserves, considering what Christian Walker made this offseason. You look at him and there's the whole thing about in the tweet here talking about the homegrown star. I mean, he's got his legacy that he could be, he could beat your guy, Darryl Strawberry's home run record. He could have his name, his number up on the City Field, we'll call it. So,
what do we got? Breaking news?
We got someone here. We got someone. We got our friend, the one.
What is up, everybody? I made it. I'm sorry just to barge in here, but I had to come say what up to the boys, the TIO Al Friends.
What's up, brother?
Thank you for filling in. Appreciate you, Hector. I'm glad to see you on the camera.
My God.
This is beautiful. I just had to. How could I not pop in if I had a minute?
Now, Pete, are you gonna get in trouble because there's a reflection behind you? Is there gonna be something in front of you that we're not supposed to see going on in the mirror behind you? Not that.
Too.
I'm at a bachelor party, but it was full of skiing today. We were out in the mountain. We were getting after it in Breckenridge. It was fantastic, sunny skies. I'm wind burned like crazy right now. No shenanigans yet, though, Al. I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, I was hoping when you logged in, we're gonna see some slips. You know what I'm saying? I talked about it. We're gonna have to change the rating of the show, but thank you. Are you bouncing? You good, or you want to time in real quick?
I got a couple minutes.
All right, so Ant, you want to finish your thought, and then we'll throw it to Pete.
All I was gonna say is that if Pete values a little bit of his legacy, he knows where to go.
Okay.
That's it.
And Pete, we were talking about what happened at FanFest, and then now that Pete Alonso looks like he's had to come back, tuck his tail between his legs, and pretty much told Boris what I said he should do on Saturday on my show on The Fan, where I said, call him and say, hey, Scott, get it done. You're fired. Boom. So what are your thoughts on what's going on now with negotiations?
The longer that this drags on, the more likely that will be a scenario that happens. I think if something were to happen already, it wouldn't have been with the Mets. The Mets are clearly playing hardball, and they want to do that because that's what they think is best for the team. I think every day that passes, it is more and more likely that Pete decides to say, hey, this is where I want to be. Clearly, this other thing that we're trying to do is not working. Let's get this done. I want to be part of the thing that I helped build.
I also feel when you talk about Pete saying that, like, he's the longer this goes on, it's showing also that the organization said, listen, we gave Juan Soto everything you fucking wanted, and now you're pulling this shit? You really gonna do this shit right now? Like, this is just not cool. So I think as Mets and Steve Cohen have pretty much had enough of Scott Boras.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Scott Boras, I think everyone's had enough of him, right? Like, no one's sitting here cheering for Scott Boras when Juan Soto gets $760 million. Like, yeah, okay, he did a great job with the best guy on the market at the perfect time in the perfect place. Who cares? No one's a Scott Boras fan. Find somebody out there who's like, you know what? I like the cut of that guy's jib. There's nobody. What are we doing? Like, no one wants Scott to win.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a Scott Boras Mets jersey. How about that? How do you think that's gonna look?
He's gonna have 1 foot in, 1 foot out now with Juan, his premier prime client, being everything New York, everything Mets, and one of his other top clients gonna just let him walk. Come on, it's ridiculous. It's getting ridiculous.
Well, his other client just signed with the Blue Jays, Max Scherzer. He got $15.5 million. 15.5.
Him and Verlander are just freaking stealing money at this point.
Yes.
I mean, they're 40. He made 9 starts. 9 for $15.5 million. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
and then people have the nerve to kill the Montas contract.
I was gonna say, you can tell Ant's a father. He wants his kid to be a baseball player. He keeps on bringing up the money. Keeps on bringing up the contract. Right?
Even you can make $15.5 million for pitching 3 innings of a season.
It's the one thing.
Yes.
Everybody on the outside, looking in, when it comes to the Pete Alonso negotiations, I know as a Met fan, when it comes to legacy, I know that means a lot, right? As a Yankee fan, did we want to re-sign our guys? When Robinson Cano left and went to the Seattle Mariners, I was heartbroken, right? But when you take a step back, when you look at that contract didn't favor the Seattle Mariners, right? So if the Yankees would have gave him that extra money, it would have hurt the Yankees in the long run, right? So when you look at Pete Alonso and you look at the possibility or the options of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. next offseason, or whether it's this year at the trade deadline or even at spring training, when you look at it, right? Yes, it will be a great story to bring back your guy, Pete Alonso. That would make an awesome Hollywood script, a nice icing on the cake. But when you look at the next 15 years for Juan Soto's contract, who do you want next to Juan Soto for the next 15 years? Pete Alonso, that may play for the next 5 or 8 years, or Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who's the same age as Juan Soto? It just makes all the sense of the world to go for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And last night while I was listening to Keith, one of the callers called up a Met fan, and he was like, no disrespect to Pete Alonso, but when you look at it, Pete Alonso is a Honda Civic. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is a Bugatti, right? I'm going to drive the Bugatti every day of the week. That Honda Corolla, that Honda Civic, I saved that for back. He was like, that Honda Civic is the Wilpon days. We over here with Steve Cohen. We got to drive the Lamborghini and Bugatti now. And I 100% agree with that, right? Again, it will make a great story to have Pete Alonso come back. But in reality, I think Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is the perfect fit for the next 15 years with Soto.
Yeah, when I was a kid, that meant more to me. When Darryl Strawberry left, I was heartbroken. But now I just want to win championships. And I saw a championship. I keep saying it. I saw one, and I want to see one as an adult. So I just feel like the contract is fair. 3 for 70. 3 for 73 is 24.3. I think that's perfect. These luckies get more than Christian Walker, who's a Gold Glove first baseman, and had a better season than him. It was a better play than him, in my opinion. So Pete should just take it, come to the Mets. If not, then go to Toronto and get your money taxed by 53% in Canada. You know, you can do that. And then if you go to Anaheim, you can play in front of 8 people. When you hit a home run, the ball hits the seats. You can hear it clink, clink, clink off the seats because nobody's watching you play, Pete.
If you look at the Dodgers and what they've done, can't remember what the tweet was, but someone brought it up. All of the players that they have let go during this long run that they've had, from Trey Turner to Manny Machado, they interchange pieces like nothing to then find the perfect fit, which is Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. You want to throw Teoscar Hernandez, obviously Shohei Ohtani. So you look at the way they do things, and that's kind of what Cohen wants to mirror at some point. And, you know, that took them over a decade to figure that whole situation out. And they finally won, you know, a legitimate World Series now, if you look at last year. But the Mets are still kind of a little bit away from that. They're trying to close the gap and make it a little bit quicker, but we'll see how long it takes them to, you know, finally win a World Series. But I'll say this, Steve Cohen's clock is running out, right? This is year number 5, and if he doesn't get a world championship, all hell's going to break loose at Citi Field.
Yeah, he took it back. He walked those comments back
real
for sure.
quickly.
He walked them back real quick. But, you know, there's also talks about the Mets in on Dylan Cease and Michael King, and how Cease, they can get the deal done easier for Cease. It's a 1-year deal, King as well. I'm all for either or. I don't care. That adds to this rotation. You can move a piece to the bullpen as well. I'm liking what the Mets did with AJ Minter. I like the signing of him. I preferred that contract over Tanner Scott's contract. I love what the Mets are doing in terms of the bullpen. If you look at this bullpen now compared to opening day, it's night and day. Look at the bullpen now compared to the postseason, it's night and day. This bullpen's better than what they had in the postseason. And if Nunez can come back healthy, it's going to be even stronger.
Yeah, Stanek was a solid piece out of the bullpen actually, he was better than Edwin Diaz in the bullpen during the postseason.
In the postseason, yeah.
In the postseason. I know he had a rough, regular season, but he showed up big time in the postseason for us. You mentioned AJ Minter, and I had on, I think it was Joe DeMeo, and I was talking about that from SNY, and he was talking about, you know, the need for the Mets to get guys who have better strikeout to walk ratios. AJ Minter is one of those guys. Way better than what Tanner Scott does. I know Tanner Scott is the flashy name. Even I wanted Tanner Scott. But when you look at the statistics, his career, AJ Minter's, has been more consistent ERA-wise than Tanner Scott has. So the deal that they got for Minter, I think, is going to work, especially if his hip is 100% healthy. This bullpen is probably going to be the best part of the team, considering the names that are in there. If they can stay healthy, I think that they're definitely better than what the rotation has. But if the rotation, you know, seems to fall apart at some point, you got those guys. And Clay Holmes you could throw in there too. If he doesn't work out in the rotation, you throw Clay Holmes in the bullpen.
And it's guaranteed that, I would say it's guaranteed that Clay Holmes is going to be a good bullpen piece. I know Yankee fans had their issues with him as the closer, but as a bullpen piece to do 6, 7, 8, he has been nothing but great for a good long while now. So the Mets are in a win-win. Either he shocks us a little bit and becomes this really great starter that we can rely on, or we utilize him in another fantastic way, which was much needed last year to get people out in big spots in 6, 7, 8. We have 9. We weren't like the Yankees last year where we're searching for 9. Edwin's got it on lock, so we're good. Clay Holmes is huge. I think with signings for relievers in general, though, I'm always interested because to me, relievers are some of the most up and down year-to-year guys, right? You'll see these guys, they'll burst onto the scene. Hey, have you seen this guy? He's got a 1.7, 50 strikeouts and 32 innings, like incredible, right? And then next year, he's got a 7.2 ERA. And relievers are just more volatile. So you go for the guy like AJ Minter, who has been more consistent, and you got to feel good about it. You don't necessarily want the flash in the pan reliever. And I think the Mets, in that regard, ended up doing a decent job there. Like, we're not sitting here singing praises about the pitching staff just yet, but I think they're stacking up some wins in that department.
Now, the thing I will say, Heck, because you're the Yankee fan, so you can chime in on Clay Holmes.
Mhm.
There's a video that's out there showing all the games that Clay Holmes blew. There was plays that his fielders let him down big time. I think like 10 of the blown saves or whatever. There was 7 of the blown saves that his fielders let it down. Whether it was Glaber, whether it's Alex Verdugo tripping over his chain in left field in Baltimore, was Anthony Volpe tripping over a squirrel at shortstop versus Baltimore. It was they did something. So it was not all on Clay Holmes. He ate it, but the fact of the matter is that you're the Yankee fan. You watch more Yankee games than me. I think Clay Holmes got a bad rap.
My only issue with Clay Holmes is we all know in the postseason, what plays more, a strikeout closer or a closer that's a finesse that puts the ball in play and depends on his defense? In the postseason, we know that ground ball may find somebody at the wrong time and at the right time for the opposite team. So when it comes to Clay Holmes, his issue was the Yankees from 2022 going forward, horrible defense. Every year, horrible defense. When you look at Clay Holmes' stats, in 2021, he pitched in 25 games. He had a 1.61 ERA. But then you look at 2022, 2023, and last year in 2024, those 3 seasons were the Yankees' worst when it comes to statistics in the infield defense. We had Josh Donaldson in 2022 caused Clay Holmes about 6 games just on himself alone. You had Aaron Hicks in left field who couldn't catch a fly ball to save his life, causing games for Clay Holmes as well. So a lot of Yankee fans, we fall in love with nostalgia. We are in love with yesteryear. And when Mariano Rivera was your closer back in the day, it's kind of hard for you to find a replacement for such a legend like Mariano Rivera. There's been some guys that are Aroldis Chapman. He showed you some stuff here and there. With Clay Holmes, I think what serves him best is that he has Francisco Lindor and that defense behind him, right? You got your anchor and Lindor. Lindor is probably the best defensive shortstop in Major League Baseball. I know he's up there in age, but if you have him as your captain in the infield, Clay Holmes automatically will have better stats because you have Lindor as your shortstop over Volpe. I know Anthony Volpe, he won a Gold Glove, and I'm not trying to just throw lateral fucking violence on Anthony Volpe right now, right? But shout out to Volpe, he's my guy. He was gifted that Gold Glove because Wander Franco's a fucking idiot at the end of the day. Wander Franco got himself ejected from Major League Baseball, and that's the only reason Anthony Volpe won that Gold Glove. Again, shout out to Volpe. I love the chicken parm.
I like how you try to. Yeah, Pete.
Yeah, I gotta go. So I wanted to say thank you.
Yes,
Jump in.
it's time.
I
It's
gotta take care of
time.
some business over
It's
here.
time. Have fun, brother. Be safe. Stay out of trouble.
Oh man, thank you guys for letting me jump in.
No, thanks for jumping in, bro. Yeah.
Don't forget to the listeners out there, subscribe, review, drop a comment. You know what to do. TIO Al Friends every Thursday, 8 o'clock. We'll see you next week. I'll be back. I'm gonna enjoy.
And wash your ass. And wash your ass.
Cheers, guys.
All right, brother.
Our good friend Pete Kennedy, one of the OGs over here at TIO Al Friends. Folks, we got over 200 people in the building rocking out with us. If you guys can, please smack that like button, hit the subby button as well. If you're watching on the Twitter, on the TikTok, on the IGs, click the link in the bio and jump on over. Now, I'm going to say all of that because Al forgets to say it. Go ahead, Al.
Yeah, that's not my strong suit. I just bring the good looks, but that's not my strong suit when it comes to doing all the advertising. Unless I'm talking about my show on the Fan, which I won't be on this weekend, which is fine. I'm gonna go spend some time with my mom, Dukes, and my nephew. So the week, there's not much going on really in New York sports. How many times can you talk about Pete Alonso? You know what I'm saying? So it's like it is what it is. I get to spend some time with my family. But Ant, so far the Mets offseason, what grade do you give it?
I mean, man, A B plus, I would say B plus, closing on an A minus. I think
that's what I gave him. That's what I gave him.
And I only say A minus because they got the biggest, shark in the water.
What's his name though? Wait. What's his name?
Juan Soto. Juan Pacheco Soto.
Where did we get him from?
The Yankees.
The Yankees for the Bronx. That's right, babe. Sorry, heck, I had to do it. Heck.
Yeah,
you guys got it. Go ahead, Dan.
The rest of the offseason has been, they've filled the spots that they had to, right? They have completely got everything that I've wanted so far this offseason. My wish list is still intact, except for maybe Tanner Scott. But AJ Minter, I'm good with. Bringing back Stanek, I like that move. Winker coming back. I hope they can figure out a way to bring Iglesias, but I know that could be a little harder if they want to let some of these kids play, especially Luis Angel Acuna. And the pitching, I don't know. The pitching still has a lot left to be desired. I don't like having to do this type of rotation again and expecting and hoping that it works 2 times in a row. That's my only concern.
Well, I have full confidence in Senga. I think David Peterson learned from last year, and I think he'll continue to build off last season as well. Who am I missing? We got Sean Manaea is back. I thought that was a nice get, especially at the price. Remember when free agency started, they said he's going to get 8 years. It's not what he got. Again, David Stearns, it didn't work this magic. Waited, stayed patient, got him back. Clay Holmes was promised the starting spot. I think that was huge in him signing. So they're going to give him every opportunity. They're going to give him the rope to hang himself. If he can't get it done, he's going to go to the bullpen. So I think they give him a month and a half. If he stinks as a starter, he's going to go to the bullpen. And that'll be a blessing in disguise. And then the 5th guy, Frankie Montas, the big question mark. They're hoping for a Luis Severino type season and better. And I think with the pitching lab, I know some people don't hate the pitching lab. I wish we had an address for this. I would love to see what this pitching lab looks like. I think this rotation could be better than last year's.
I will give credit real quick to Cohen and Stearns on these contract deals because they've got everybody for the prices, except for Soto, which they had to go all out for, especially with the bidding war that took place. Everyone else, they pretty much got for what they wanted for, or even a little less. You even look at the arbitration numbers for some of the players that were re-signing. They paid less than what they were going to get. So they really made out as well as you could possibly make out.
Ryan Brazier has been DFA'd. I don't know what team that man plays for, but shout out to Ryan Brazier for being DFA'd. Somebody just put it on my TikTok live, so I just had to drop the news. It's just news. Anywho, but as somebody that has been to like Citi Field, working media with Latino sports. If you guys can, make sure you guys go to latinosports.com. Follow us every day. Follow us on social media. Talking to some of the Latino beat writers that have followed the Mets for years, right? They have told me the difference between Steve Cohen and this ownership group and the Wilpons, and it's night and day. And you brought it up talking about the pitching lab and the pitching factory that you guys have. That season you got from Luis Severino and that renaissance bounce back from Sean Manaea, that wasn't random, right? That's what you guys are going to have going forward with the guys that are in charge over there in Queens. So with your expectations for Frankie Montas, if Frankie Montas is healthy, you can guarantee he will have a better year than Luis Severino because were healthy at their prime. Frankie Montas was an actual ace. Luis Severino was trying to learn how to be an ace, right? So no disrespect to Severino. I loved him when he was with the Yankees, but he only showed us that dominance for half a year. When you have Frankie Montas, he actually put it together for a couple of seasons in a row. So if Frankie Montas is healthy, you guys have a solid piece in your rotation with Frankie Montas, and it still sets it up for David Stern to operate when you get towards the trade deadline. The only thing I say when it comes to your prospects, I know, Al, a lot of Met fans, and Ant, you guys can let me know if I'm over talking. I know a lot of you guys want to make the big move and trade for that big fish. Just be patient because the prospects you guys have that David Stern has developed. When he came over, you guys were a bottom 5 farm system in Major League Baseball. You guys are now a top 10 farm system right now. Let David Stern cook. Let patience be the key phrase that Met fans use right now during this time. I can see you guys cracking that that championship within the next 3 years. Just be patient because the prospects you got coming are amazing. Not just the guy that you signed this year, that international free agent, but Jeremy Rodriguez, who you guys got from the Arizona Diamondbacks. That was a steal when you traded Tommy Pham away. That Jeremy Rodriguez was the Diamondbacks' #1 international signing, and then they traded him away for Tommy Pham. That was a steal by David Stern. Secondly, your #1 pitching prospect, what was your second prospect now, Strupp, or however, Brandon Strupp,
Brandon Sprout.
However you pronounce his name.
Yeah, Sprout.
He's going to make you forget about Matt Harvey. Do not trade those three prospects. The guy you signed this offseason, Sprout, whatever the fuck his name is, Bellsprout, from Pokemon, whatever his name is. Don't trade him and don't trade Jeremy Rodriguez. Those are the 3 prospects that are untouchable.
Yeah, I don't know if it's worth now going out and trading, because usually I'm one of those guys that's like, prospects don't do anything for me. You can trade them all. That's how I used to feel. But seeing how the Dodgers kind of went about this offseason and are kind of gonna be a team of dynasty, maybe, possibly. I know it's hard to do that in this type of postseason, but I don't want the Mets making the wrong trade right now. It's not necessary. And I know there's thoughts about them looking at, like you said, Michael King and Dylan Cease. Getting these guys for a year doesn't really thread the needle for me. I'm not giving up a lot of prospects for rental. Now, if you tell me you're going to get Vladimir Guerrero Jr., that's probably a different story. But, again, he's only going to be 1 year. You can wait for him to come out in free agency and pay him as much money as you want to. So, yeah, I'll be patient. Definitely pitching. To me, you have to, if you want to avoid paying pitchers this expensive amount of money that this, like Scherzer getting $15.5 million, all these pitchers getting these ridiculous contracts,
it's crazy,
and they pitch once a week, not even 7-8 innings. Could you imagine what Dwight Gooden could get these days? What Roger Clemens could get these
Bob
days?
Gibson.
Oh,
Bob Gibson.
Seaver. The names go, the list goes on and on of what these pitchers could be. They could be in like the $1 billion, $2 billion mark right now, considering what these pitchers make. The Mets need to build out their farm system with starting pitching and just pitching in general. You can get all the free agent, position players you want, but for pitching, build from within. So you don't have to be paying these ridiculous contracts, and you don't have to change the rotation year on year out basis.
Heck, we got a Yankee question for you. This the Yankee question. This the Yankee portion of the TIO Al Friends program. And you wanted to mention something. You mentioned the tweet, the text message. You want to drop it on Heck and see what he says?
The text message.
Yeah, about Stroman.
Oh, yeah. I kind of want to know your thoughts on Marcus Stroman pretty much, ghosting the Yankees on social. We dealt with it before, so you probably know our feelings already on it.
Listen, no hard feelings. I understand, as somebody that has blocked many of former places I used to work at on social media, I understand that Marcus Stroman. Just know we are here from you. But I don't know, man. I just feel Marcus Stroman got a bad rap because, again, just like Clay Holmes, Marcus Stroman was a victim of horrible defense, specifically Gleyber Torres, a.k.a. Gleybass Torres. Gleyber Torres, when you look at his stats, Gleyber Torres was the worst defensive second baseman in all of Major League Baseball last year. But when Marcus Stroman pitch, for some reason, Gleyber Torres and the rest of the Yankees defense was the worst defense in all of Major League Baseball when Marcus Stroman was the pitcher. And that's
I know why. Ground ball pitcher. He relies on his defense to get to those plays, and that's something that the Yankees couldn't do. You saw Anthony Rizzo forget how to play first base in the World Series. Everybody's been diminishing when it comes to DJ LeMahieu. That man can't even get out of bed without hurting himself. So Marcus Stroman and Clay Holmes were both a victim of horrible Yankees defense. Go ahead, Al. My fault. Do you think that Gleyber Torres was hanging out with Evan when he was doing the Rico and they did some gummies together?
Maybe.
I mean, Could that be the case? I don't know if the 5 milligrams could do it, Ev. You know what I'm saying? And if you're watching, 5 milligrams. I don't know, Ev. I know when some of us have done them for 400 down the throat. You know what I'm saying? 100 milligrams. That is. You know what I'm saying?
I don't even blame.
Reflect TIO Al and solely TIO Al. None of his friends. None of his friends.
TIO Al and no friends. And that, look,
what are you gonna say, Ev?
I don't blame Marcus Stroman one bit in this whole situation. I think this kind of falls on Brian Cashman. He knows that Stroman was a ground ball pitcher. Look, we all know we had him on the Mets. We knew he was a ground ball pitcher. To bring him in to this team with that defense is a disservice not only to Stroman as a player, but also the rest of the team. You're putting them behind the 8 ball. And although he had the good first half, kind of fell off in the second half, wasn't even on the postseason roster, I don't think, right? He didn't pitch at all in the postseason.
No, that's a Stroman special. First half, he's great. Second half, he's not so great.
Yeah. And again, shout out. I love Marcus Stroman's attitude, right? His passion for whatever team he's on. You can never replicate that, or it's hard to find players that when you bring them to your team immediately, they try to fall in love with the culture. They try to show love to the fans. And that's what Marcus Stroman did last year. He used to rock those dope ass Yankee vintage t-shirts from the 90s and stuff like that. And I know with the Mets, it was kind of the same thing as Al is blowing his nose right now. He got to mute himself, so we heard boogies and shit. But with Marcus Stroman, I wish him the best. I have no bad feelings at all when it comes to Stro, right? Again, wish him the best. It didn't work out here in the Bronx. I know he wanted to pitch for the Yankees. He's a local guy. He grew up a Yankee fan. It just didn't work out. And that's not a reflection on Marcus Stroman. That's a reflection, like you said, Ed, on the front office for not having actual defense behind them.
And they didn't want, like, he didn't want him to begin with, right? He didn't want him a few years back.
Apparently, that's the rumor, and I don't know how much that is because they apparently made up with each other. Whatever. I guess Cashman felt some type of way when Stroman said the Yankees didn't trade for me when he went to the Mets. I really don't know what went on. That's between Cashman and Stro. I just, again, wish him the best. I don't. If Matt Scherzer is making $15 million. Marcus Stroman making $18 million. That's kind of the market for that type of pitcher. So it's not that bad of a contract, maybe. I don't know.
And I wasn't blowing my nose. I was unzipping my bag, and it just sounds like it. That's what you heard. I'll keep it real. If I rip ass, I'll tell you, yeah, I had to rip ass. I'm on antibiotics. I ripped ass. Like, I'll tell you, I don't give a shit. I talked about ripping ass on the radio this week. I don't give, it is what it is. I keep it a buck with the audience. It is what it is. But heck, now that I have a Yankee, we have a Yankee fan on the panel this week. Is there a move you want to see the Yankees make, or you good going to spring training like this?
Nah, Nolan Arenado. That's the guy that I want for third base. If not Nolan Arenado, anybody who has a post and could play third base. Anyone is better than DJ LeMahieu, right? At this point in his career, and that's no knock really on DJ LeMahieu when he was.
No, it is a knock. It is a knock.
When he was in his prime. But outside of Aaron Judge, he was the most fearful batter in that lineup when he won a batting title, and he was killing it when he was healthy. As soon as he got that hip surgery, it was a wrap for him. What we all know in baseball, if you UCL, shoulder, anything like that, it's bad for a pitcher. If you're a position player, once you get hip surgery or once you have that type of surgery, your baseball career is over. This is the same shit that happened to Nelson Cruz, the same thing that happened to Alex Rodriguez as well, right? So for DJ LeMahieu, we just need an actual third baseman and not DJ. I saw a lot of Yankee fans wanting Oswaldo Cabrera, and I love Waldo, right? I've met him and had interviews a bunch of times with Waldo. That's my guy. But what makes Waldo special is the fact that he could play multiple positions late in the game. If you take Oswaldo Cabrera and stick him at third base for 140 to 162 games, whatever it is, you're taking away his most valuable asset, and that's his versatility. So I think it's a disservice to him if you stick him at third base. If he plays third base for a whole year, is he serviceable? Absolutely. It's just I feel he has more value as that super utility guy that you could pull out anywhere.
Also, real quick about the Yankees, for Aaron Judge, I compare him to Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson with the MVPs. I think he's going to win his third. He had a historic season in the NFL. People are going to kill him and say it means nothing because he didn't know he's not going to win. He hasn't gotten to the Super Bowl, won a Super Bowl. Do you feel that way when it comes to Aaron Judge too? If he can hit 200 home runs this next season, driving 500 RBIs, it doesn't mean jack shit if he bats 140 and drops another ball in the fifth inning in the World Series and costs him a game.
Aaron Judge is in the A-Rod territory right now, right? I know he's the captain. We all love, Aaron Judge. I love Judgy Wudgy. Don't get me wrong, but he is in the A-Rod realm right now. A-Rod, 2009, help us win a World Series, carried us, got us there to the World Series. Everything was forgotten. 2004 was forgotten. 2005, all of that was forgotten because of 2009, and that's when Aaron Judge needs to do. That's the only thing he needs to cement his legacy with the Yankees. If Aaron Judge doesn't win a championship in his career, he falls to the bottom when it comes to Yankee captains, especially because he was in the World Series and had that huge ass blunder.
Did you hear the story at the baseball? What was it? The baseball awards dinner they just had?
Yeah, the BW, whatever, the Baseball Writers Association.
So Carlos Mendoza was sit with Aaron Boone, and in the program that they have a full page at Juan Soto, Mets, and this. So Carlos Mendoza, God, I love him as our manager, slid that page over to Aaron Boone and gave him a look. How you like me now? Yeah. How you like that, huh?
Listen, you guys, Met fans, you guys are warranted of acting the way you're acting right now. You guys deserve it. You guys got Juan Soto. He's the big fish. That's a guy that is going to change your franchise over the next 15 years while he's there. You know what I realized, Al, and the shit kind of made me depressed? I was like walking by my house filming a TikTok, and I was just talking about baseball, and Juan Soto came across my head. I'm like, wow, Juan Soto, 15 years. When his contract is over, I will be 50 years old. That's fucking depressing.
Hey, no, you just made me feel depressed, bro. Why you have to say it like that, man?
I don't even know really too if the Mets.
Hey, shout out to my homie Skills.
Mets fans 100% buy the hype of Juan Soto, because they're still saying if they don't sign Pete Alonso, the offense is not going to be good. I think the offense has just been upgraded about 5 or 6 games with Juan Soto, with the full season of Mark Vientos, with the healthy Francisco Alvarez and Brandon Nimmo. Look at the Yankees last year, and him and Aaron Judge basically carried the offense. Without those two in the lineup, that offense isn't the same. And granted, Giancarlo Stanton had one of the best postseasons of all time. But during the season, there's some times that he was absent, and it was just Judge and Soto taking care of business. Those, adding Juan Soto to that lineup last season changed everything. And it was just one guy.
He's going to have the same effect that Yoenis Cespedes had when he came over to the New York Mets. When Cespedes came over, it was instantly not just him in the lineup, but 1 through 9, everyone got better. Everyone around Yoenis Cespedes got better, and that's what you guys are going to get with Juan Soto. Mark Vientos will become a more disciplined hitter just because he's working next to Juan Soto on a day in and day night basis. When you look at Mark Vientos and his splits, when you count that in for a whole 162 games, Mark Vientos in 130 games, he hit 32 or 35 home runs. Counting the postseason and stuff like that, Mark Vientos is a solid player. His strikeout rate, 29%, that's a bit alarming, but I definitely think that he's going to improve this year. It probably dropped down anywhere from 25 to 28%. It's not going to go all the way down, but Mark Vientos is a solid Major League Baseball player. You put him at first base, put him at a position, well, he won't stick out like that much of a sore thumb. When it comes to his defense, I think Mark Vientos at first base will be totally fine for you guys in that lineup. I think Juan Soto will have enough protection with just what you guys have with Vientos behind him.
Listen, Vientos was no slouch at third base, and that was the one thing we were worried about. And he played a fantastic third base considering all the crap we heard. It's kind of similar to Francisco Alvarez when he first got here. To me, all the pressure this year on the Mets, if you had to pick one player, not a superstar, it's Francisco Alvarez, bro. He was the number 1 prospect in all of baseball. I had him penciled in for 30 home runs last year. The man barely hit 10. The man barely hit 10 home runs. All the pressure's on him. This is why I don't trust workout videos. All the workout videos, all the batting practice, all the catching drills. It don't mean a damn thing if you lead the league in pass balls and you're not living up to your potential. And I think besides the big names, all the pressure is on Francisco Alvarez to finally deliver
I am going to give him a little bit of a break for breaking his hand in May.
Last year, yeah.
I think that was a big reason why he wasn't able to hit. But if he can overcome some of the strikeouts and some of the swings that he makes, I'd actually like to see him, position himself, a little bit better as a catcher, because he's let a lot of pass balls by him.
Yes.
Just from his positioning alone. He's great at stealing strikes, and I love that he does that. But man, if he's just, slouched on one knee, he's not able to move around as much as he can. And there was so many pass balls. I could count multiple times that I've seen that throughout a game, and it was frustrating to see. So some of them scored runs. It was terrible.
It also to remember, he's still a young developing player when you talk about Francisco Alvarez. And like you said, it's kind of hard for young players to improve when he's recovering from breaking his hand. Right? Let's just be like he can't work on his catching skills with that type of injury. So this is still a young kid who's coming up, who's trying to learn how to be a better defensive catcher. You sideline him with that type of injury, and it's going to be hard for him to automatically come back in and be better than what he was last year. I definitely agree with Francisco Alvarez having a whole offseason healthy. He can work on the skills that he has to work on, and I definitely think he would be a better defensive catcher next year. The only thing, going back to Vientos, that scares me with Vientos when it comes to the breaking pitch, specifically curveballs. I think he's hitting like 170 or 190, if I'm not mistaken. So that's the one thing he has to work on, specifically with the two strike counts. One season, the two strike hole, they're treating him like Javi Baez. They're just throwing that curveball on the outside corner to him.
But to me, the thing with Vientos, it's not only the regular season, is that he had a monster postseason as well. And when a young kid can do that, when a young kid can not only have a great regular season, considering all the crap he's went through, I felt like he slept with somebody in Buck Showalter's family, the way he was treated. He played one game, wouldn't play for a whole 2 weeks, or he gets sent down. He finally got an opportunity, and he excelled. And then came postseason. He was a beast in the postseason as well. He was breaking Met rookie records or something like that during the postseason. He was amazing.
I think it was 5 homers, 14 RBIs. Probably.
Yeah, he was.
It's either the best offensive performance in postseason history, or it might fall second or third under like Daniel Murphy's run in 2015. Like it is that he may have the most RBIs, I think, though.
Yeah, he was amazing. Yeah, so yeah.
I just want to add, we're over 270 people watching us collectively all together. If you're on Twitter, if you're on Instagram, Facebook, click the link in the bio, jump on over to YouTube. We got over 30 people in the chat on YouTube. If you guys can, smack that like button. Let's try to get the likes up as much as we can on YouTube. My fault, Al. Go ahead, bro, before we
No, it's all good. So now, we can switch topics right now. We did 40-something minutes of baseball. I wanted to get some Yankee stuff because I know the Yankee fans will say, no Yankee stuff. What about the Yankees from the Bronx? So we had a Yankee fan here.
My guy, Johnny, friendly reminder that Soto is a Met. Yeah, another Yankee slander right now. Another one. One more time. One more time.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm all for it. So, and Ant does the Subway to Shea podcast, does a great job. He always has great guests on. So we went back and forth. We did some Mets stuff. Now on to the Knicks, who have won 5 in a row. They're finally rounding into form. Worried about, is Mitchell Robinson going to be back this season, and when is he going to come back? Then you had defensive struggles, Carl Anthony Towns injury, Josh Hart nicked up. But the Knicks keep rolling. Right now they're playing, coming into the new year, they had the toughest schedule, and they've won 5 in a row, whooping the Nuggets' ass. Before that, they whooped the Grizzlies' ass. Before that, they whooped Sacramento's ass. So pretty much whooping on that ass. A 3-day stretch of 408 points. I think it's the most points in the Knicks history in a 3-game span. And right now, the Knicks are clicking. 1 game behind the Boston Celtics, who I desperately. Boston, if anybody in Boston is watching, listen to me real closely right now, okay? I hope you motherfuckers, that we see you motherfuckers in the playoffs. And I'm cursing, yes. I want the Boston Celtics. Last year, healthy, I wanted that ass. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. Fine. Now, let's stay healthy. Porzingis, stay healthy, because I don't want no excuses. We stay healthy. And right now, it's looking like the 2 and 3 seed. Knicks, Boston, semifinals. And I want that. I don't want no excuses. So I want the Boston Celtics ass. And I think this Knicks team, because of this offense, and the defense is getting much, much better. Thank God. With this offense, it's going to be scary trying to hold us down in the playoffs.
Mm. Go ahead, Ant. You could go first.
I'm just happy the Knicks are back, man. For all the years that I have watched Knicks basketball through the early 2000s, the Isaiah Thomas days, this is a fresh, refresh. I know it's been a couple of years they've been doing this now, but man, having Knicks basketball at the top of the pinnacle right now is definitely something that I'm always excited to see. And we haven't seen it since, what was it? That 99-2000 run, man. It took us, 2 decades to get to this point, but glad we're here. And the Knicks are looking to make a big run here. And I think that they will. I think they will this postseason for sure.
When you look at the Knicks right now, right, this is the first time that at the end of January, that the New York Knicks, we have 32 wins. This is the first time that has happened since that season that Anthony was talking about, or like in the 90s. It's been over 20 years, 25 years since that happened. Secondly,
I think longer than that, because 99 they were the 8th seed in the strike sorting season.
Well, in the 90s, and so even longer than that. 30, whatever it is, guess what? I was watching Power Rangers at the time, the last time that shit happened. That was a long ass time ago. I had Hero and that happened as a child, right? Yes. But when you look at it, and when you look at the overall standings of the East, the New York Knicks, we are third, 1 game behind the Boston Celtics. We have the 5th best record in all of the NBA. Again, at the end of January, the New York Knicks, we have the 5th best record in all of the NBA. It has been a very long time that Knicks fans, we have been able to stand on top of the mountain and scream with all our chests. We are here, and we are here to party. And just like you said, Al, I want to see the Boston Celtics in the playoffs. I want to see Kristaps Porzingis in the playoffs. So all you Latvians that's out there that's watching us right now, guess what? I don't give a rat's ass. I want my to show up, and shout out to the front office, William Wesley. Shout out to James Dolan, the owner of the New York Knicks, but specifically Leon Rose. And Leon Rose, we trust. Look what that man has done since coming over and taking over for the New York Knicks. When you look at Tom Thibodeau, we've had this coach for more than 3 years. And prior regimes, after 3 years, we're firing a head coach and bringing in more people. We're getting rid of the front office. We're getting rid of the head coach. This has been the first time that we've had this type of sustained success over 5 years, 5-6 years. And now we got Jalen and Cat. Like you said, estamos cocinando ahora, tío Al.
It's funny. You look at the trades, and they were talking about it on the Fan this week, and I've been talking about it for weeks. When it comes, when they traded Cam Reddish for Josh Hart, there was an outcry. We traded Cam Reddish. The boy's gonna be bad. Yeah, how's that looking now? Cam Reddish right now is in Greece somewhere. I'm kidding. I don't know where he's at in the league right now. When they traded R.J. Barrett and Emmanuel quickly, we traded guys we drafted homegrown. How's it looking now? OG Anunoby and Prester Chu, who's by the way is playing in important minutes in big spots, which is making Mitchell Robinson expendable. We'll get into that in a minute. Then what's the other trade? They trade Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo for Karl Anthony Towns. You talk about a fleece. You talk about fleecing the Minnesota Timberwolves. I mean, we fleeced them. We fleeced them. And now there's rumors of Randle going to Miami and the Heat culture. By the way, how's that Heat culture looking, huh? How's that Heat culture, huh? I'm sorry, what was that? That's right. So bullshit right now. It's bullshit. So right now the Knicks, I love Josh Hart. I mean, it's just 48 minutes or whatever the time is in there of hell and fury. Jalen Brunson, his assist numbers are up. He's averaging close to 8 assists per game and about 25 points per game. He started in the All-Star game with Karl Anthony Towns. First time we got 2 starters in 75 on the Knicks. Knicks representing the Knicks. So right now, the way things are going, my biggest concern was Karl Anthony Towns in foul trouble, and he's 3rd in the league with the most fouls. I'm getting nervous about Josh Hart's technicals getting close. When he gets close to the playoffs, he's got 8 of them, which is a little scary. He's got to control that. But the defense has been my biggest concern. And the defense, when the Knicks get enough rest, because they played, I think it was 9 games in 14 nights. That's a lot of basketball in 2 weeks. A lot, especially this day and age in NBA. But the Knicks get rest. And in the playoffs, you do get rest. You don't really play every other night until the conference finals. And I'm telling you, that 130 per game is going to be up there. And if the Knicks can play defensively, we going to make a run, and not just the semifinals, not just the conference finals. I put myself on the line. I said the Knicks will be in the NBA finals come June.
I just want them to stay healthy, and I hope that Thibodeau manages their minutes better than he did last season, because as we got all the way to the Pacers, by that time the team was exhausted. There was way too many injuries, and it kind of did them in and got them knocked out.
Yeah. The key to this year is going to be health. How is OG Anunoby going to be when we get to the postseason? Is OG Anunoby going to be rested? Is he going to be healthy? Because when you look at the stretch run that the Knicks went on, right, in January, like we've been 5-6 game winning streak, whatever it is, over the past 20 or 10 games, you see the defense getting better. One correlation on why the defense is getting better is because Precious Achiuwa and Deuce McBride and Cam Payne, they're all healthy, all three of them at the same time. To start the year, Cam Payne hurt his shoulder, right? Missed a lot of time, right? We was relying on Deuce McBride, no Precious Achiuwa. Then Deuce McBride got injured. Cam Payne slowly coming back. Precious Achiuwa slowly coming back. No Deuce McBride. Now, over these last 8 to 10 games, we've had all three of them coming off of the bench, and Tom Thibodeau has gone from a 7 to 8 man rotation to a 9 man rotation now, right? And we have been playing our best basketball with a 9 man rotation because we have to keep Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns rested as much as we can.
Now you said 9 man rotation. The question is, will it become 10? Will they make a trade for Chris Boucher from Toronto, has been heavily rumored? Or will Mitchell Robinson be that 10th guy? Thoughts on that?
And you could go first, because I don't want. I could go on about Mitchell Robinson, but go ahead, bro.
I feel like Mitchell Robinson's always hurt, and it's time to move on. I think it's time. Like, he has not lasted a full season. When was the last time? He's always hurt. I think it's time to move on from Mitchell Robinson, honestly.
Yeah,
no offense to him. I know he's a good player, but he just can't stay on the court.
And when you see how this team is built, does Mitchell Robinson fit into that mode when you talk about athleticism, guys that can run around, right? Guys that can stretch the floor as well. Because Precious Achiuwa, he's not no Reggie Miller. I get that. He's not Kyle Korver, but he still can stretch the floor just a little bit. Mitchell Robinson, automatically, you're leaning off of Mitchell Robinson. You're letting him be wide open, right? And that makes it hard for Karl Anthony Towns to operate down low and Jalen Brunson to operate down low. You see how great our offense is? That's because the floor is spread out. Everybody is a threat from beyond the arc. You cannot just leave the center just open. You can't leave Mitchell Robinson open because he's not out there. So Mikal Bridges, OG.
Heck, your mic. Heck, your mic is acting. Your mic is acting up. Your mic's like, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me now? Okay,
Yeah.
anyway, like I was saying, so now when you look at our team works best when you have Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby cutting with Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns having the bottom to operate. Josh Hart is like a little crackhead firecracker. He's just running out all around the court, causing chaos and causing havoc. I love Josh Hart. He's a pit bull that's out there. Shout out to Josh Hart because he gives you the stats that don't pop up in the box score.
And what about Chris Boucher? You in favor of that trade? What would it take to get a Chris Boucher?
Sorry about that. Yeah, when it comes to Chris Boucher, not necessarily. I don't think we need a backup center. I think we need more of a small forward, backup power forward, right? With Precious Achiuwa, he can spot you at that center position and give you some reasonable minutes. Again, he stretches the floor. There's a wing from Dallas that I'm forgetting his name, but that's the person that I'm eyeing. I forgot his name. I'll look it up right now.
The only reason I say the Chris Boucher thing, I know he spaced the floor as well, but the second and third chance, the rebounding, I think that worries me. Yesterday's Nuggets game, I know the Knicks ended up pulling away, but they were minus 17 at one point on the boards versus Denver. That to me, that was one and done. Denver was getting second, third, and fourth chances and got back in the game without Joker. Remember, he got 2 fouls quickly in the game.
with Chris Boucher, it may be hard because the Knicks are in that apron, that second apron when it comes to like their salary cap. So the salaries, they have to match dollar for dollar. When you look at Chris Boucher is making $10 million this year when Mitchell Robinson is making $14 million this year. So unless the Knicks can throw in another player, and we have to figure out to match the salaries. That's the only way it can happen. If they can't match the salaries, the Knicks, they're stuck. They won't be able to trade for Chris Bouchard. So what may happen is you may have to give up a young piece like a Tyler Kolek, and that's something that I wouldn't want to give up just for Chris Bouchard.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, Amp, if I can get a minute before we get into you know what? Let's do this.
Hey.
You mentioned off the air that you're a Cowboy fan.
Yeah.
And you're on the. You want you say what you tell? Repeat to the audience what you told me.
Well, when my kid gets older, whatever team he decides to root for, I'll jump on that bandwagon right there.
Even if it's the Jets.
Oh gosh.
Sad.
I'll try to steer as much as possible. Who knows? Maybe they're winning their like 5th Super Bowl under Aaron Glenn at that point in time.
Hey, and then you could always say, "Son, look, the year you were born, you helped turn the Jets luck around."
Yep.
And
I
now,
just can't take Jerry Jones anymore.
So that's been your frustration. You're not happy with. So you don't think Brian Schottenheimer is going to be the next Bill Belichick?
I don't think so. I mean, he hasn't been hired by anybody else. He's been in the league forever.
That press conference was cringy. The way Jerry was talking, and my man, the way they were talking about this dude, like, you know, I'm taking a risk on him. You know, this is not a sexy high. And my man is sitting there like, hello, I'm fucking right here, bro. Why you talking about this? I'm right here. It was cringy, that press conference.
The funny thing about the Cowboys is, you know, they love the in-house. Like, he loves making the easy decision. In-house guys. Talk to Kellen Moore. And the best in-house guy that they had, they let go, who took the Washington Commanders to the NFC title game in Dan Quinn. That was their best piece that they let go, and they shouldn't have let him go. And now we got Brian Schottenheimer. I can't.
Well, let me just say this because I need a minute to get this off my chest. Yes, we lost to the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. The 4 turnovers, we didn't deserve to win. I'm talking about the Commanders now, not the Cowboys. That in this century, they haven't made the NFC Championship game. They're the only team not to make it. So out of all the teams in the NFC, I can now say that because my team finally did it. Suck it, Cowboy fans. So that was the disappointing part, was the 4 turnovers. That, you know, when we got back in the game down 11, the crowd was dead for Philly. Austin Eckler fumbled, and then right there I knew it was over. I felt like people that I knew were trying to. They wanted to see me cry for some reason. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, for what? We didn't deserve to win. We didn't deserve to win the game. But Dan Quinn did a phenomenal job. Adam Peters did a phenomenal job year 1. This was really Josh Harris's first year as owner of the team, because last year he took over late. We got the best quarterback in the draft, was going to win Rookie of the Year. We got 100 and some cap space to spend. I keep seeing different numbers. It's 91 week. The next man's 120, whatever. We got 7 draft picks, 29th pick in this draft. I'm sure we're going to maneuver a couple picks to move up in this draft to get a receiver. I'm happy. The future's bright. We get a new stadium. We're going to adjust our uniforms. They're going to make some change to uniforms. I'm happy. And this is year 1. And this is the worst roster that Jaden Daniels is going to have in the Commanders. And we made the NFC Championship game. So I'm good. So the Eagles are the elite of the elite. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles, even though your fans are a bunch of fucking dumbasses. Congratulations to the Eagles. You deserved it. You have Pro Bowlers everywhere. You got big boys up front who play dirty, by the way. I don't wish injury on anybody, but Jalen Carter, karma's coming your way. But they're the elite, They're playing the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I don't know what everybody's bitching about. They're not going to watch Super Bowl. Then don't watch. As a prediction, I said I'm rooting for my Super Bowl boxes. I got Chiefs 7, Eagles 3. So my final score: Chiefs 27, Eagles 23.
You basically the Commanders have basically mirrored kind of the Mets, right? You wanted the Mets to get rid of the Wilpons. You wanted the Commanders to get rid of Snyder. Both happened. Both teams are in a better place for it. They both went to conference finals, same as the league championship series.
Yep.
same type of thing, and it's working out well. You got the Knicks going on. Al, you're in a good place, bro.
It's been a long time, man. I've put in a lot of losing seasons for this.
Yeah.
This is the first time in my lifetime, my basketball, my baseball, my football, are legit championship contenders. The Washington one was the most surprising to me. I thought they'd win. When I went over their schedule on the air, I said I could see 12 wins, and they got 12 wins. I thought maybe a playoff win. They got 2. And they're 1 game away from the Super Bowl. So I can't complain. The future's bright in Washington. Like I said, new stadium, draft picks, boatload of cash. Players are telling the agents they want to go to Washington. Listen, there's the Eagles, there's Washington, and there's the other 2 shithole organizations. And speaking of one of those, Shedeur Sanders has been getting I'm going to try to say this as politely as possible. He's been getting hand jobs from Brian Daboll and at the Senior Bowl. This is what's been going on. He's been, Brian Daboll everywhere. He's been following Shedeur Sanders around. This is my guy. This is my guy. I think this can be a ploy to get Cleveland or Tennessee to take him, and they get Cam Ward. I think if the Giants get Shedeur Sanders, it's going to hurt me because I think he's going to be a Joe Burrow type I think he's going to be like a Joe Burrow type quarterback. I think that's his ceiling. He's got the same thing as Jaden Daniels, which I like. He's like this.
Yeah.
When he plays, and he's a winner. Everywhere he's gone, he's won. Now you're going to say, well, he didn't win championships. Well, Jackson, and what is it? The league was. It's all about. Man, what was it? Jackson? Was it Jackson State or
Talking about the HBCU he played for?
Yes. What's the name of the school he played for?
I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, he won down there with Travis Hunter. Then in Colorado, they won from a 1-win team to a 4-win team, then to a 9-win team, and played in a big bowl game. And they were saying, well, all he did was throw to Travis Hunter. He had the best player in the country. Well, go look at the numbers. He elevated that whole receiving core with a shit offensive line. Sound familiar, Giant fans? Because you do have a shit offensive line. I don't want to root against him. Cam Ward is a Giant. I have no problem rooting against Cam Ward because I think he's going to be a bust. And now all of a sudden, this Jackson Dart guy is gaining steam. You have Jackson Dart on the Giants last year. His name is Drew Lock. That's what Jackson Dart's going to be, Drew Lock. But Shedeur Sanders to the Giants, it would scare me. Him and Malik Neighbors combination. You had Tracy, a young running back. I don't want to root against him, but if the Giants end up with Shedeur Sanders, they hit a home run.
I love Shedeur Sanders. I want to start that off by saying this. As a Giant fan, I love Shedeur Sanders. But as a Giant fan, I recognize how this man that's on the screen, right, Mr. Mara, the owner of the New York Giants, how he is obsessed and he is in love with the Manning family. I could see a scenario where Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward are both gone. They're off the board, and Travis Hunter's right there. And people were talking about it, that the Giants take Travis Hunter and they use their money that they got freed up and go after Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold could be a stopgap for the next 2 years if Arch Manning decides to if Arch Manning is in the draft. But that's not going to work because if you have Travis Hunter, if you have Sam Darnold, are you telling me that you're going to
win some games?
Exactly. You're going to win games. You're not going to be positioned in order to trade up for Arch Manning. So I don't see that scenario with the Giants signing Sam Darnold. If they get Travis Hunter, I want Shedeur Sanders to be our quarterback for the next 5 to 8 to 10 years. I love his makeup. I love his father. And to be fair, I want him to be the pain in TIO Al's toe every time he wakes up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the fucking night.
Wait, time out. Before you say something, Anthony, the thing I brought this up on the air, I'm like, if the Giants, for a while back, if the Giants don't believe in any of these quarterbacks, then I think if Travis Hunter's there, you take the unicorn, and that's Travis Hunter. He can play both sides of the ball. I think he's going to do both in the pros, not to the extent that he did in college, because in college he played 84% of the snaps. The next most was 55%. He's not going to do it in the pros. He's going to get killed in the pros if he does that. But if you get Shedeur Sanders, and let's say they have a 5-win season, who's going to be the coach of the Giants after next season, right?
Oh, Dion.
His father.
Yeah, Dion.
His father, exactly. So I think Giant fan. I know a lot of Giant fans have called the radio station. One caller we didn't put on the air said the Giant fans don't want a black quarterback. I can say this here. I didn't want to say it in the air. A caller called in. We didn't put him through. I'm like, are you bugging to even want to even say that on the air? To me, I don't care if you're black, white, an alien, wherever. The Dodgers probably might sign you because they sign everybody. But it's all about winning. And people say they don't want the circus of Deion Sanders. What circus is that? The guy speaks the truth. He speaks facts, and all his players respect him. And he's a winner. Don't you want that? Aren't you tired of losing? Your record is similar to the Jets over the last decade. So who are you to talk about? We don't want a circus.
Deion Sanders, he shed a light on HBCUs and their programs and got kids wanting to go to HBCU. Automatically, that's a win for me. Secondly, he turned that Colorado program, which was a joke before he got there, and he turned it into a respectable college program, right? So if Deion Sanders wants to be the coach for the Giants with his son behind the center, I'll be down for it. My fault, Ant. Go ahead, bro.
This is like when Met fans complain about signing Yankee players, or like they complained about getting Carlos Mendoza. I don't care. They have been a winning organization forever. I want that. I want the winning atmosphere. And if Deion Sanders brings that, it looks like in all the mock drafts that Shedeur Sanders is going to go. It's either him or Cam Ward that has been placed on the Giants. So I don't really know. I haven't watched that much of the NFL this season for, reasons because of the Cowboys. I haven't watched that much. But do the Giants have a good offensive line?
No.
It's bad?
It's not. No, it's not bad, but it's not good. It's in the middle.
Is it something they can fix in free agency?
Yeah, they have like 50-something million to spend.
Mm-hmm.
So if you draft Shedeur, who I'm pretty sure runs all over the joint.
No,
right?
He's a drop back quarterback.
He's a pocket passer?
Yes, he is. So Cam Ward's the one who runs around like a maniac.
Yeah.
So if you could get some free agents that are, linemen and put Shedeur Sanders in there, like you said, bring in Deion, I think that'll work out for the Giants. Because if you watched, what was it, Hard Knocks?
Mm-hmm.
They lost a lot of respect, of Shane and Dable for letting Barkley go. And it was just a whole mess. And look at what Barkley's about to do now.
The thing about Saquon Barkley, sorry, Heck.
My fault.
Sorry, Heck. The thing with Saquon Barkley that bothers me is it's not that he's on the Eagles. It's the fact that the Giants last season at the deadline didn't trade him. They could have traded him to the Ravens. Everybody thought he was going to the Ravens. They could have got his ass out of the conference, right? Instead, you have him sign. Instead, you embarrass him on Hard Knocks, and he signs in the division with the fucking team that we all hate, and the city we hate, and the fans that we fucking hate, the Philadelphia Eagles. And that's the part that bothers me the most. Now, Giant fans said, well, we didn't trade Saquon last year because we didn't want to ruin the culture in the locker room. What culture is that? Losing? Because that's all you've been fucking doing is losing. You could have got 2 draft picks, probably a 3rd and a 4th rounder or 3rd and a 5th rounder to Saquon. Instead, you're there holding your nutsack, nothing to show for it, but a headache. On the 100th anniversary of the Giants, 100th anniversary of the Giants, Saquon Barkley is on the verge of winning the Super Bowl.
Yep. And one thing I wanted to add on, right, when it comes to the whole Saquon Barkley thing, because I'm right there with you. As a Giant fan, seeing that where we were going, we needed to trade Saquon last year, right? Especially with the way that the Giants were dicking him around, slapping on a franchise tag. And last year, I didn't want to believe it, but a lot of Giant fans that I spoke to brought up, they don't want to trade him to Baltimore because they don't want him to reunite with Odell Beckham and they become a tandem and make a run in the postseason. And the Giants
look stupid.
Because they drafted him and they wanted to get Odell away from him because he was a bad influence. And I agree 100%. It's stupid for the Giant fans that were throwing it out. I was like, I can't believe that shit. I don't think it's true. But if it is true, if it has any validity, I think that's horrible on your front office and you look like a clown. Because whoever was the guy that was sitting next to Shane, his assistant or the guy on the couch telling him, you could tell like he wanted to tell him like, boss, like,
he was so scared. He was so scared to speak up.
What are you doing, my man? He's like, who's going to give him that type of money? Teams with money are going to pay for him. He's a difference maker, and you see it. And I'm glad this is happening because now running backs will get treated better and will get because of Saquon Barkley. And it sucks that Saquon had to take less money when he should be getting paid way more. We gave Daniel Jones all that money, but we let Saquon Barkley go because we didn't want to give him more than $12 million. What are we doing? And
in division,
to point, the Yankees, the Giants got $47 million in cap space. Yeah, and in the division too, Ant, my fault.
Yeah, I don't know how they let that happen. That is that is going to be a thorn on the Giants' history for
Oh,
a
yeah.
very, very long time if they don't turn this around. Because we know, it's so hard in football to really turn things. We've seen so many teams. Look, the Jets haven't been able to recover since the Sanchez days. They haven't been to the playoffs. The Giants have been having a hard time even just getting back to the postseason themselves. It's not easy. It's just not easy. So they better hope that Shane and Dable, well, if, Dable doesn't make it out of this year, obviously, like you said, it's probably going to be Dion. Like, do you attach Shane to that? I don't know. I think that you'll probably go a different direction.
I think you do.
I think Dion's not going to want it. Dion's not going to. Dion's going to bring his own people in. And let me tell and the guy I can see him bringing in is Louis Riddick, because when Louis Riddick interviewed for the Jet GM job, Dion put out a big thing saying about Bravo, the Jets would hire him in pretty much. I'm just paraphrasing there. And I can see Louis Riddick running the Giants with Dion. And there you go.
Yeah. Now to the Giant fan, I just want to touch on it real quick. To the Giant fan that called in and said that the Giants don't want to have like a black quarterback or whatever. I'm gonna just say this, right? When it comes to that, I'm not sure, right? I'm just on the outside looking in. I'm not a part of the inner circle, so I don't know what the owner of the New York Giants has thoughts that goes to his head. I'm not sure about that. But what I do know is when you look at the numbers and when you look at the disparity when it comes to black quarterbacks or black coaches in the NFL, it's a trajectory that's switching right now. There was a report that came out in 2019 and showed that black quarterbacks in high school, when they're about to go to college, over 80% of them are forced to switch positions and become a wide receiver or a running back. Not a quarterback. That was a study that was put out in 2019, right? But you see the switch now, because now this is one of the first time in the NFL history in the draft that the top 3 mock draft picks are all men of color. And I know a lot of people say, "Oh, why you look into that? Why you look into that?" Because there's not that many of them. There's not that many black quarterbacks that are thriving right now. And the moment that Lamar Jackson gets that preferable thing off of his back and gets that Super Bowl and gets that championship, I think this is a great way to go for the NFL. And if Deion Sanders was to come in as the head coach, not just because of he is a black man in America, because of his great football knowledge, but on top of it, it's a father-son relationship that we can see at the professional level, and we've never saw that ever. I don't think we've ever seen that. A head coach coaching
with his son.
With his son.
Yeah,
and
quarterback.
A head coach who's a Hall of Famer on top of it.
The other thing I will say is, and I thought about this today. In NFC East right now, Jalen Hurts, black. Dak Prescott, black. Jaden Daniels, black. If the Giants draft Shedeur Sanders, black. I think they'll be the first division in NFL history to have all black starting quarterbacks going into the season. I don't think it's ever happened before. And now I'm glad that. Because I love Lamar. When I heard Bill Polian say the shit he said about him, I went nuts.
Yeah,
I went absolutely nuts. I did a podcast before that draft, and I said Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson be the best quarterbacks in that draft. And Lamar's got 2 MVPs, probably going to win his 3rd. Baltimore trading back into the 2nd round and getting him was an absolute steal. He's going to get his ring. He's going to get his ring. It just sucks it hasn't happened yet, but he will get his ring and get his respect and his recognition for sure.
Yeah.
So now, and before we go, because I think we touched on everything, right? We got it. Oh no, Jets.
Yeah.
The Jet press conference real quick. Aaron Glenn. I don't know if you watched it. If you got a chance to see it. There's one line that bothered me, and maybe Jet fans could, if you want to tell me I'm wrong, I'm wrong. When he said, "We're the freaking Jets. We're built for this shit." Now, I said, Bill, for what? Losing some more? Because all the Jets have done is lose. Like, he had a great press conference, don't get me wrong. But when he said that line, what a freaking Jets, we're built for this? Slow down on that one, Mr. Glenn.
I mean, he had to come in with a bang, and he had to, pump up the fan base and all that stuff. So you're going to hear, I mean, it's better than the way that had Jerry Jones treated Schottenheimer right next to him. So I'd rather that than the opposite.
Well, Jim Tomsula ripping ass when he was introduced as the 49ers head coach. He ripped ass in the presser. That's a classic right there, too.
I would say for me, when it comes to Aaron Glenn, he said everything right? Everything right. He sounded amazing until that last part that you pointed out, Al. But for me, I don't put weight in that anymore. Yes, you're saying everything the fans want to hear. The only reason why I say that is because David Fizdale, I brought everything David Fizdale was selling. When David Fizdale,
same,
and he was speaking, and the way how animated and passionate he was, like David Fizdale, I will fucking run through a wall for you, my guy. Moody, we gonna get you right, Moody. We gonna get you right, Moody. I was like, yes, get Emmanuel Moody right, absolutely. And
yeah.
Everything, and then to have egg on my face for him just to be sitting there on the sideline cheering on the other players on the opposing team. So that's the only thing I say to a Jet fan. Just be cautious, because he said everything amazing. He brought in his coordinator. I'm forgetting the gentleman's name, but he seems like he's going to be
Steve Wilkes.
He seems like he's going to be a solid piece to that coaching staff, but just be cautious, because you don't know what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers at any time could just take some mushrooms and just go missing on an ayahuasca trip, right? We don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers, if he will be back next season. And if he does come back, which version of Aaron Rodgers are you going to get?
I think
he's Aaron Rodgers, or are you going to get, Perk Rodgers? Which version are you going to get?
Yeah, I think he's gone. I think Aaron Glenn, I've been going back and forth with this, but I think if Aaron Glenn rips the Band-Aid off now, he buys himself an extra year. Like if he brings Rodgers back, it's his decision, and they stink, he's going to lose a year of goodwill with the fans. So that's why I'm in favor. Rip the Band-Aid off, have a stopgap quarterback, or give Jordan Travis a chance if he earns it in preseason, and go from there. Now, Ant, before we go, is anything first of all, let me say thank you for joining.
Appreciate it.
Gallo, like I said, dealing with family stuff. Pete hopped on, and right now he's doing his thing. So have fun with that. But I appreciate you coming on. Is there anything you want to plug before we go?
No, just to tune into the Subway to Shea podcast. I do live streams every Sunday morning in the off season at 10 a.m. So you can check them out there. I'm pretty sure a lot more Pete Alonso talk's going to be had. I'd like to get over the Pete Alonso talk, honestly.
Amen.
Can we move on? Like, can he sign already? This is getting a little bit ridiculous, but you can catch me on my live streams 10 a.m. on YouTube at Subway to Shea, and then Instagram, TikTok, which their ban lasted about like 30 seconds on there as well. At Subway to Shea, and on audio at Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Yeah, don't even get me started on that TikTok stuff. We're not doing that here. Heck, anything you want to plug?
Yeah, again, shout out to Ant. We miss having you on, my guy. You're always family. You already know that, brother. Again, shout out to you and wifey. Congratulations on the newborn to you.
Thank you.
Just want to say, Al, again, another dope episode. You killed it. I know the fellas will be back next week. But if you guys can, please keep on hitting the like button. Keep on hitting the subscribe button. We are right there at 5,000 subscribers. I'm going to promote. I'll be at spring training, Yankee spring training. I know you hate the Yankees, Al, but I'll be there February 20th through the 27th working for Latino Sports. So I'll be working the field, working media for the Yankee games. I'll be at 3 Yankee games, and I'm going to go to 2 Rays games as well, just to throw that in the mix at their spring training facility. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on the TikToks as well. I go live every day on TikTok. So make sure you guys are following for exclusive on the field coverage of spring training.
Yeah, everybody keeps telling me to open one. I don't know if I can do that yet. I'm not on the fan this weekend. I'm going to be taking time hanging out with the family. So, I'm happy about that. Can see my mom, can see my nephews. The youngest nephew is now running around like the Tasmanian devil. So I can't wait to see that happen in person. Start getting him some, like I did to everyone. My brother, my nephews, raise his edges. They got initiated with a raise his edge to the club. So I'll be giving out raise edges this weekend. But as always, man, it's a blast. We'll have Gallo back next week, Pete back next week, maybe a few surprises, and I'll let you know about Sunday.
Most definitely. I'd love to have you back on.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Go.
You guys are in the tri-state area. This weekend is a Pinstripe Pride event at the American Dream Mall. A lot of Yankees are going to be there. Former Yankees are going to be there as well. In February, make sure you guys follow Woodbridge Brewing Company. Jose Reyes is going to be in the building. Daryl Strawberry is going to be in the building as well. Allen Houston, Latrell Sprewell, Amari Stoudemire will be in the building over there at Woodbridge as well. Make sure you guys follow them. And like Pete says, make sure you wash your ass.
Hug your loved ones. Al Cintron, Subway to Shea, Anthony Rivera. Thank you. Hector, we out.
Yeah, buddy.